store or conveniently 24/7 online at their newly launched Express store. Carter Subaru, Seattle's only Subaru dealer.
Yo, holla.
Subaru.com.
Hold on a second. We've got some weird commercial in the background. All right, yo, hello. Welcome to week 11. Today has been a doozy already. Normally I spend the morning going through the book and preparing for the live stream. This morning I turned my alarms off and I woke up an hour ago. So this should be good. I'm trying to figure out how I can adjust my lighting here. This will just have to do. How was your week? How was your tasks from last week? Did you do them? And did you do your journaling? Did you have any synchronicity this week? Happy solstice, Sandra. Good morning. Good morning. It's 2. Yeah. Sandra says it happens to all of us. I don't have an excuse. Like, I didn't, not get enough sleep. I just love sleeping, and sometimes that happens. All right, yo. Did you do your tasks and things, your deadlies, your 7 deadlies, your touchstones? Sandra said she did her morning pages. She sat down with the homework but didn't do it. But with reason. I mean, we all have reasons. Oh my God. Yeah, last week was interesting. I had to take my car into the shop. Well, I already knew that I was going to have to take my car into the shop, and then something else broke down on it. So then I had to take it in. I was saving up. But then I had to take it in, and not only did I have to pay for what I was saving up for, I had to pay for another fix. So it cost me about $2,000. So that was my week. Very interesting. All right, so Zandra says it was making her angry to realize that it was more important for her recovery to listen to her anger and say no instead of doing it because she should. I did do some of it. So you're saying that you were angry and you didn't do it because you were angry? Yeah, well, my car's almost paid off. I have $920 on my car loan, and then it's mine. But I've had to dump a lot of money into it this year, but I'm hoping I can just run it into the ground over the next 10 years and not have a car payment. So I'm okay with it, but I had to put some on a credit card, So you were getting angry and you chose not to do it. Okay, well, how do you feel about that? Do you wish that you'd done it? Or are you going to try again? Or, because I know a lot of times, that just means that it's hitting a nerve. And it's stuff that you're going to carry with you until you address it, I guess. So you sat down and walked away 3 times. Got you. Yeah, well, I didn't do all of it. So what I need to go back and do is the 7 deadlies, because there's definitely stuff that I struggle with that get in the way of my stuff. And then the touchstones, let's see, it says make a quick list of things that you love. Happiness touchstones for you: river rocks, worn and smooth, willow trees, cornflowers, chicory. Oh my gosh. Just even the sound of a song, a smell. Post this list where it can console you. Did you do number 2? Because number 2 is what, if you're upset, post this list where it can console you and remind you of your own personal touchstones. You may want to draw one of the items on your list or acquire it. If you love blue velvet, get a remnant and use it as a runner or sideboard or a dresser. So I have a bunch of touchstones around my apartment. because I've purged a lot of stuff that I don't like. So like a lot of my decor already, like I look at it and it's just like, oh, it makes me happy because it feels like my magical little hideaway. And so I think that's what she was talking about, is surrounding yourself with things that make you feel good. Sandra says she's going to do the course again. You mean, okay. And maybe then, but for now she's not going to do it. Okay, so felt like the right choice. All right, number 2 is one of the most so you had the most trouble figuring out how to surround yourself with things that you like. Well, very often it's very easy to be negative and to list off all the things that we don't like, or all the things that we could be doing better at. So finding things that then make us happy just then shows us that we need to take some time to find things that make us happy. Sandra says she already has a lot of things. Well, then it should have been easy to write it down. If you already have a lot of things, I feel like that would be easier. Unless there's some like notion that it has to be hard in order for it to be a success. Well, taking action is good. Sandra says she thought that it was stuff that she had to get. No. Post a list, you know. If like it's like I said about my apartment, I already have a bunch of stuff that make me happy in my apartment. So that to me was easier because it's like I've already done the work of like getting rid of a bunch of crap that I don't like. And even though I just moved in, I still have some stuff that's sitting around and I'm just like, I don't use this, or this isn't in the right place. And so for me too, when I think about that, it does make me want to get up and rearrange stuff. Like I really want to like rearrange my bathroom and do like a way where it's like all the stuff that I use is more at the forefront, and like I kind of did it opposite. Kim says the tasks were great. She loved number 3, so enlightening. So number 3 was the awful truth. Answer the following questions. Tell the truth. What habit do you have that gets in the way of creativity? Tell the truth. What do you think might be a problem? What do you plan to do about the habit or problem? What is your payoff in holding on to this block? If you can't figure out your payoff, ask a trusted friend. Tell the truth. Which friends make you doubt yourself? The self-doubt is yours already, but they trigger it. So that's funny. So like a lot of times I'll notice like when somebody asks me a question and I don't know the answer to it, my first reaction is to be angry. Is it because I think I have to know everything all the time? Is it because I feel like I don't know how to ask questions to find the right answer? So that's really interesting. Yeah, certain people ask me certain questions all the time that maybe like I haven't taken the time to find the answer to, and I always want to know the answer. Interesting. So anyway, that's kind of like not related, but sort of is. So what was your experience with that, Kim? Number 3, telling the truth. Was there something in specific that you got out of it that made you like it so much? Or was it just the process in itself was really helpful in being able to ask ourselves these questions, and really like sometimes like if we really sat down and thought about something, we would know the answer, but until you actually ask the question, it's just like this big question mark, or you don't even think about it. So I'd be interested to know how you feel about that. Again, sorry about the lighting, you guys. I feel like it's like on my cell phone, I could adjust the lighting. I wonder if I can adjust the lighting here. See, I'm a photographer, right? So this is bothering me. All right, so Kim says, destructive friends. I never realized how many I had. I needed to distance myself. That's really important. So yeah, like if you have a friend Like, in what way, if it's not too personal, could you share more about that? If it is a little too personal, then don't worry about it. But yeah, I think we all have those friends that are really destructive. I myself can be my own destructive friend. I did a bunch of stuff this week, and I was like, oh, I'm really in the habit of like just getting home and smoking weed and then like chilling for a bit. But then I kind of realized that, so this is me being my own destructive friend, is that, when I do that, I don't really do as like, I don't really meet my goals when I do that right when I get home. So maybe I need to restrict that until I'm done with my stuff. And so I did a little bit of that this week. Yesterday, I had to go and pick up my car from the shop, and it was unexpected because like my car broke down on Tuesday and I had to go take it and get a rental car, etc. So my car, he worked early to get my car done. So I had to pick it up Saturday morning yesterday. And I was going to use yesterday morning to work on this art commission I have. Well, because I spent all day running around to get my car. Long story. It's just a long distance from my apartment. And then my rental car I got from the airport. So I spent all morning until like 1 o'clock, like 2 o'clock, just trying to get my car back, pay my bill, whatever. And then that was the time I had allotted for my art commission. And then I was supposed to go visit a friend for her birthday. She was having like a little hangout session. And I had to tell her, I'm sorry, I can't. This was the time I had allotted for this. Can we hang out later? So like that was me stepping in and being like, I have to do this. And I had to really put my playtime on the back burner because I had obligations. So I had a lot of really good results from really being aware of what it was I was doing in my choices this week. So let's see, let's catch up on the comments here. Kim says the tasks were great. She loved number 3, and that, okay, so she was talking about the destructive friends and she needs to distance herself. And Zandra says, I know what you mean, my own destructive friend. I've been working on that. Kim says they've been so involved in my life and want to sway my decisions their way. Oh, they're trying to make your life work for them, not realizing you're the one who has to live it. And they have their own life to control. Leave mine alone. Zondra's message was held for review. Let's show it. So Zandra says finding balance between actual needed relaxation and just fucking off because she can. Zandra says, way to go, Kim. And awareness was a thing this week. Yeah, so Kim, I really like that point you made about how people are trying to sway your decision to fit, whether it be what their perception of your needs are, or whether it be from actually fitting in with what they want. Like, so a lot of times when people give us advice, we have to really weigh it with a grain of salt because they're giving you advice based on what they would want for themselves, right? So if somebody's trying to advise you on something and you know that it goes against something that you really hold important and that's really going to bother you, I think that's really smart and very intelligent to be able to be like, you know what, this is actually going against one of the values that I hold for myself or one of the needs that I have for myself. And I appreciate you giving me that input. However, I still am going to have to go with it this way. Yeah, that's really good. So finding those people. Yeah. And, people really, really heavily influence us. We are innately social creatures, even if we are introverted. Society really does play a whole thing. Society plays a huge part, whether we like it or not. So that's really good. I'm glad that was helpful to you. Yeah. So really, number 3 was about being honest with ourselves, and we then just honed in on friends being a big influence, and are we really okay with the influence they have on us? Very cool. Zandra says awareness was a thing this week. 100%. Next up in our little review, we have setting a bottom line. So working with the answers to the questions we just went over and trying to set a bottom line for yourself, and beginning with 5 of your most painful behaviors. So like that was for me, you know, when I get home, I really need to do what I want to do and then relax. Or like even like detox from my day. Like I really find that when I switch from task to task, that I need a sort of palate cleanser in between each tasks. So like whether it be like a nice walk outside, or sitting in my garden for a minute and like potting a plant or watering them, maybe even taking a minute to read a book and then moving on and doing the next task. Just something to kind of separate and change the mood, right? So a lot of us deal with things at work. A lot of us just need to change gears. It's really important. So Zandra says a couple weeks ago, she bought a book named Boundaries because she has issues with those. And that the entire week, she just started reading the Boundaries book. So both of them work together. That's really cool. So there's some synchronicity there this week. Zandra had synchronicity with the workbook and what she was observing in conjunction with her new book about boundaries, which was really cool. And she says that some of the homework was already done for each separate book. That's really cool. Yeah, so what are some boundaries or what are some bottom lines that you guys set for yourself? If you feel like sharing those, go ahead and put those in the messages. Some of the examples here is, you know, bottom line, I will no longer work weekends. You know, and for me it was, I spent a lot of time socializing this week. And so when it came down to Saturday, and that was the time I'd set aside for my commission, I really had to say no, and saying no to people is hard for me, especially in our times right now. Like we really want to stay connected with each other. So, but I was okay with that. I really felt relieved after I was like, okay, like, you know, this was out of my hands. It's not like, you know, and for me, like, even if it had been like today, I accidentally slept in, and like, say I had accidentally slept in yesterday instead of having to go and get my car, like I still would have had to say no, even if it was my own fault or whether it was out of my control. So bottom lines, you know, this is what has to get done. Also, you know, how about cherishing? Did you guys list 5 small victories? You know, did you list nurturing actions that you've done for yourself? Have you been kind to yourself, and have you been allowing yourself to go on artist dates still? You know, did you do your pages? Did you go on your artist dates? Synchronicity, we've already got that with Zandra. Zandra says she did do that one where she listed her cherishing her victories. So, you know, I think the tasks this week were really, really good and really important. And I think that if you missed any, that it would be nice to go back and fill them in, just because they are very, oh my God, I'm yawning, I just woke up. You sleep too much, and then you're just going to be like sleepy the rest of the day. Thank God I made more coffee. So Zandra's been slack on artist dates. It's been an ongoing challenge. So then Zandra, this week, make it a priority. Set 1 hour aside, just 1 hour, just 1 hour. Put it in your calendar. You know, maybe even do it immediately after this workshop right here. After we're done meeting here, go do your artist date. Like, if that's what you've been struggling with, do it first. That's a really good tip. Okay, so if there's something that you're struggling with and that you're avoiding and you're dancing around, do it first. I used to do this when I was in high school. I was like a straight A student, but the way that I maintained that was immediately after school, I went and did my homework. Even if I went to my friend's house, we would walk home after school to her house. We'd do all of our homework, and then we go and we dick around, right? Like, we'd go and walk around the neighborhood. We'd go walk here, walk to a friend's house, whatever. We did whatever we want, but we just took and when you do it immediately, it really, really, really allows you to enjoy your time completely. So I'm going to recommend that. So Zandra says, small victory. I sang along with Fighter and actually hit some of the notes. Oh, is that like the Christina Aguilera song, Fighter? Is that what you're saying? That's pretty dope because she's got some good range. You gave me like a little bit of context there, but I'm assuming you're talking about Christina Aguilera, Fighter. That would be really cool. And if you're, yes, Zandra says yes, that's the song. So if you want to share your content with me, I would totally love to see that. Oh, Jeremy's chiming in. He says, yes, she is. Very cool. Yeah, ex-Tina Fighter. Oops, all caps. That's okay. You were excited. It's all good. Stop yelling in my DMs, Jeremy. Yeah. So Zandra, I, if you at any point would love to share some of your stuff with me, I would be really interested in hearing your music. God, I haven't seen you guys in I don't even know how long. Was it a year or 2 years ago? Was it a year ago now? It's been a long time, you guys. Oh, no, and then I saw you at the festival. I saw you at, was it Parque Diem? It's totally been a year. Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to have to post-quarantine it up, yo. All right. Oh, well, I'm really proud of you guys, and then also, okay, first of all, I know I'm saying, hey, let's try and do this first, blah, 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 giving you guys recommendations on how to complete all of it. But also, okay, first of all, we're on, this upcoming week is week 11, okay? This is a long course book. This is a lot of content. This is emotional content. And I don't want you guys to think for a minute that you're not doing the work, because you are. You guys are showing up every single week, and I am really proud of you, and you guys should be proud of yourselves too, because this is a lot of work, even if you're not doing it all. We started out at the beginning of this course, talking about how you don't have to have time to do all of it. Some of these tasks that they're giving us, though, they do build upon each other, and yeah, it's optimal if you do it all, but the thing is, you're doing more than you would be doing if you weren't doing this course with me. So you should be proud of yourselves. Y'all are in my DMs here. Let's see. So Zandra says that was dope. Oh yeah, because we totally ran into each other at the festival after we met, because we were volunteering at a big event at the Gorge together, and that's how we met. And then afterward, we realized, we all live in Seattle, and then we ran into each other at a festival, and it was just hey, you guys, what's up? I haven't seen you guys in a month or so. And then Zandra and Jeremy say that was dope. Oh yeah, Zandra says there's a Fred Meyer parking lot nearby. Woot woot. What do you mean? Go meet up at the Fred Meyer parking lot? We park in our cars and be yo, howdy, what's up? Zandra says she realized at one point that just in the morning pages she'd written the equivalent of a novel, which just means she can craft a plot and she knows how to do it. Yeah, chill in the parking lot. All right, you guys, let's meet up in the parking lot. You know, even actually, we can go hit up one of the parks and just go walk around. Go walk Green Lake or something. Go walk at. There's tons of parks here that we can go to. Yeah, I'm down for that. And yeah, you can totally write a novel. And Julia Cameron, she's a writer. She talks about in here directly to writers. So I'm really excited that you're realizing that. Zandra says chill in the parking lot, and Jeremy says smoke separate joints. Yeah, we don't share our weed anymore. We're in Seattle. It's legal. Okay, it's legal. Cafe, are you an atheist? No, I don't identify as an atheist. Is there? And then welcome Cafe. Actually, I think I'm saying that right. Cafe, welcome to the live chat. No, I'm not an atheist. I kind of identify more as spiritual. But that's like a whole conversation. Zandra says the park is a better idea. Jeremy says we should ride our bikes on the trail. Yep. Kim says she wants to go, but she's in North Carolina. Kim, you could totally come. If you're up in Seattle, let's go meet up and go to the park. That would be really cool. Well, Zandra says, okay. Zandra says that's a long bike ride, Kim, if you're coming from North Carolina. Cafe says it's just you had your live stream tagged under atheism. That's how I found it. I don't remember actually tagging it under atheism. I'll have to check that out. That's interesting. Well, welcome. I'm sorry if that was misleading. I'll check my tags after this and figure out what's going on with the atheism tag. So hopefully some of this is relevant, but if it's not, there we go. Zandra says, or we have to ride to you. Yeah, we'll do like a social distancing meetup soon for the Seattle folks here. And yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Cafe, what we are doing here, Cafe, I'm not sure if you saw, is this is a book. It's called The Artist's Way, and it's a spiritual path to higher creativity. So we're on week 10, and today's topic is recovering a sense. I'm sorry, that was last week. We're reviewing that. This week is week 11, recovering a sense of autonomy. I don't know how I'm pronouncing that wrong. So yeah, this is actually really relevant if you're in any sort of creative field, whether it be writing, music, art, visual arts, performance arts. So feel free to join. But yeah, again, I'm not sure about the atheism tag. I'll check that out. So this is going to be kind of interesting because, again, all right, so if we have any other questions or comments about week 10, go ahead and throw them in the DMs and I'll catch up with you guys after you're done typing them out. But for now, let's move on to week 11. And what we have here is recovering a sense of autonomy. I don't know that I'm pronouncing that right, so I'm going to stop saying that word. This week, we focus on our artistic autonomy. Autonomy. All right, you guys. We examine the ongoing ways in which we must nurture and accept ourselves as artists. We explore the behaviors that can strengthen our spiritual base and therefore our creative power. We take a special look at the ways in which success must be handled in order that we not sabotage our freedom. Zandra is saying autonomy. Autonomy? I don't know. Autonomy. Autonomy. No. All right, moving on. This is so awkward. Let's read that again. We take a special look at the ways in which success must be handled in order that we not sabotage our freedom. So first, we've got a couple categories here this week. We have acceptance, Success. The Zen of Sports. Building your artist's altar. So success, no, acceptance, success, Zen of Sports, and building your artist's altar. Sandra says, ought like caught, on like on a box. Oh, like, oh my goodness. And me, the name I call myself. So autonomy. Autonomy. Well, thank you. Autonomy. All right, very good. I have a, what is that called? Phonics lesson today. Autonomy. Well, thank you for helping me be a little less tongue-tied here. Hooked on Phonics works for Zandra and Sari. All right. So again, please bear in mind, you guys, please be gentle on me. I literally just woke up like an hour and a half ago and I did not have time to prepare this, but I still wanted to show up for you guys. I was sitting there thinking like, should I like send them all a message and say I'm going to postpone this, blah, 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 blah. But I just decided to show up for you guys. You guys can bear with me. So being an artist, I might need a different mix of stability and flow than other people. I might find that 9-to-5 job steadies me and leaves me freer to create, or I might find that a 9-to-5 drains me of energy and leaves me unable to create. I have to experiment with what works for me. And this is really interesting, this opening paragraph, because I've definitely experimented with this myself. I found that I was doing some contract work and it worked for a while for me. So I was about 20 hours a week I was doing contract work, and about 30 to 40 hours a week I was doing my business. And I found that while the time frame worked for me, the fact that the contract work was inconsistent didn't. So then I ended up getting a part-time 20-hour-a-week gig where it was consistent, but the income wasn't consistent even though the hours were. So it was like a tip-based thing. And so then I was like, okay, crap. So then I started snowballing, and then I started stressing out more about money than allowed me to. So I was spending so much time stressing about money that I wasn't able to do my business. And so now I'm at a point to where I'm working like basically full time. And now I'm like, it's really a struggle to find the time to work for my business, but I'm feeling financially stable with all my stuff. So I'm kind of like in this weird mix where like I have to find a way to make it work with my almost full-time schedule. And I have to be very, very, and like I said, I have to, once I get home, I really need a palate cleanser in order to like move on with my other stuff. But I've also been like moving and having like a lot of issues with my personal life over the last year that I really dealt with. So now I'm actually at a point to where I'm ready to reboot and actually see how consistently I can do this. And again, with like the quarantine and all this social stuff going on. So I'm really at a point now to where, okay, like financially, like I'm good. And now I just got to like figure out what I'm going to do moving forward that's manageable until I can then, make the switch again. Zandra says that's the worst. Kim says she's recovering from summer solstice party, so she's slow. Too much celebrating. Bless you. I wish I was at a summer solstice party. I was supposed to go with my mom, but because I went down to the protest, she's not allowing me to go and see her anymore. So, for 3 weeks, but then I keep doing stuff with that. Even though everybody's wearing masks, everybody's being safe. But again, even like my job, like people at my job aren't really being safe. So, I mean, I'm probably just not going to see my mom for a while, which is really sad, but I've been like FaceTime here. But anyway, no solstice party for me. Boo hoo hoo. I hope you had fun at yours. I definitely just spent the night painting last night, which is good. So the artist cash flow is typically erratic. So yeah, I found that like my business, I do things seasonally. Like I teach workshops in the spring and the fall. I do vending at festivals in the summer, and the winter I have more time for commissions. So that's kind of how I divide my year. But still, even so, like it can be erratic. Like, and now I'm having people, I've been doing this for a while, so now I'm having people just like be like, hey, my friend wants this, hey, my friend wants that. And so I'm building up that word of mouth. And so relying on your art can be difficult when that's your only source of income. And it can be really strenuous on your actual creative process at the same time. So that's kind of why I'm where I am right now. Anyway, so good work will sometimes not sell. People will buy but not pay promptly. Yeah, like I've had like several offers on this one painting, and people just keep backing out because it's so expensive. It's a really, really big piece. It's really beautiful. People love it. But the original, it's hanging on my wall, so I get to enjoy it. And Zandra says her favorite time to create has become winter, but it's also when she has the least energy, and she gets the sads thing because in Seattle we don't get that much sun. Although, you know, what I found is that if you have a job outside, you get a lot less of the seasonal affective disorder. So like I have a job to where like I have big giant windows and I'm like basically outside some of the time. And so I've found that because I'm not going to the work in dark and then coming home in the dark, I'm actually like able to be outside. That helps with my seasonal affective disorder as well too. And that's just like a lack of vitamin D, and it's just really depressing. So if money determines real art, then Gauguin was like a charlatan. As an artist, I may never have a home that looks like Town and Country, or I may. On the other hand, I may have a book of poems, a song, a piece of performance art, or a film. I must learn that as an artist, my credibility lies with me, God, and my work. In other words, or as I like to say, I must learn that as an artist, my credibility lies with me, the universe, and my work. In other words, I have a poem to write. I need to write that poem, whether it will sell or not. And I think that this is the concept that I'm really wanting to focus on, because I have been so hyper focused on what sells, what sells, what sells, what sells, how do I make money? And now that I'm coming back to what is it that I want to create, because it becomes so less inspiring to sit down and make something just being like, oh, it's going to sell. And honestly, most of the stuff that I've had fun creating is what sells the most. So it can be really counterintuitive. And also, like that one piece I have, it's giant, it's huge, and it's my pride and joy, and people keep trying to make offers on it and then backing out. But it's like, it's a good piece of artwork. People just, don't have the money for it. So, I'll just wait for the one that does and enjoy it in the meantime. Zandra says that exercise helps her in the winter and it's just too cold. Well, we all have to figure it out. We all have to figure out what type of lifestyle works best for us. And I think that's what she's really talking about here, is that as an artist, your needs for your norm is not, for the most part, going to match up with the societal norm. Like, you have to really figure out what works for you, what makes you happy, and how do you need to structure your life in order for you to still be able to be creative and financially taken care of and happy and safe. So we need to create what wants to be created. I can't plan a career to unfold in a sensible direction dictated by cash flow and marketing strategies. Oh, talking to my heart here. These things are fine, but too much attention to them can stifle the child within who gets scared and angered when continually put off. Children, as we all know, do not deal with later, not now. Word on matching up with the societal norms, Zandra says. It's important, and I spent a lot of my life trying to fit in, and it never worked for me. Even when I was doing what I thought was expected of me, it still never worked for me. Like, I still wasn't accepted in that way. And a lot of times there's like that quote where it says, before you decide that you're depressed, make sure that you're not just surrounded by assholes. Can I say that again? Because this was really, really, and like, it was really hard for me to actually be like, oh, no, like, they're good people, whatever. No. I was surrounded by a bunch of assholes for a really long time, and I was really depressed because they didn't accept me. Well, no. Before you decide that you're depressed, make sure that you're not surrounded by a bunch of assholes. Bingo, Zandra says, word. Kim says, love it. Sandra also says, that's been the best part of the pandemic for me, is realize that I'm not broken. I just don't fit in with all the drones. Exactly, you guys. You got to find your own tribe. That's why I love Seattle. You know, I am volunteering at festivals and stuff. You really find people that care about the music and the art culture. And as creatives, you really need to find those people. And you need to be willing to go and put yourself out there so that you can meet those people, because they're not going to come to you. They're the same as you. They're just trying to do what they love. And a lot of us, you know, we really have to put ourselves out there and in those situations around those types of people that we need to meet. And you just got to do it. Zandra says, don't blame the flower for doing poor in poor soil. Right. You know, and it's like that other thing. You can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take care of yourself first. And that's, again, you know, just coming back to my day yesterday, like, I could have gone and been social and been there for my friend, but I had to be there for myself first. I had set an obligation, to create this commission, and I hadn't created all week, and I needed it, even regardless of if it was a commission or not. Like, I needed to sit down and paint. And sometimes the initial part of creating, when we have it, hurts. It's really painful, but you need to push through that and do it. So, right? Sometimes I will write badly, draw badly, paint badly, perform badly. I have a right to do that and get to the other side. Creativity is its own reward. Over here on the side, we have a little quote from Mr. James Abbott McNeil Whistler. Art happens. No hovel is safe from it. No prince can depend on it. And the vastest intelligence cannot bring it about. To a large degree, my life is art, and when it gets dull, so does my work. As an artist, I may poke into what other people think of as dead ends, punk rock bands that I mysteriously fall for, a piece of gospel music that hooks my inner ear, a piece of red silk I just like to add to a nice outfit, thereby ruining it. Again, this is back to that thing, some of those tasks we did last week. Some of those tasks we did last week are tying in with the content from this week. So it's really cool, because even if you didn't do the task, if you read the task, you can see the correlation, how they will relate and feed into each other. And it will give you that wider understanding of what it actually means, because you've done some action that applies the concept. And then you go and read about it, and then it further builds upon it. So, as an artist, I may frizz my hair or wear weird clothes. I might spend too much money on perfume, blah, 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 blah. As an artist, I write whether I think it's any good or not. I shoot movies other people might hate. I sketch bad sketches to say, I was in this room, I was happy, it was May, and I was meeting somebody I wanted to meet. As an artist, my self-respect comes from doing the work. One performance at a time, one gig at a time, one painting at a time, 2.5 years to make a 190-minute piece of film, 5 drafts of one play, 2 years working on a musical. Throughout it all, daily, I show up at my morning pages and I write about my ugly curtains, my rotten haircut, my delight in the way that light hits the trees on the morning run. Here's another quote. The job of the artist is always to deepen the mystery. Mr. Francis Bacon. Sandra says, I really trashed a shirt by getting creative with it. That's a good mantra. My self-respect comes from doing the work. As an artist, my self-respect comes from doing the work. I really like that one too. This is a really good chapter. So I don't need to be rich, but I need to be richly supported. And that comes from weeding out those people that are unsupportive, setting those boundaries. You know, I love you, but I love you in 5-minute intervals on the phone. I love you, but I love you in, you know, maybe a half an hour chit chat. And then I'm sorry, I gotta go because I can't take much more of you. Boundaries. All right. So if it drains you, it's not healthy, right? Or maybe, yeah. So creativity is oxygen for our souls. Cutting off our creativity makes us savage. Sandra says, OMFG, I have those friends. Don't we all, boo, don't we all? And you know what? What's nice is once you start to distance yourself from them, you realize they're strangling you, and you can take that much more distance or just leave it at that, and it's a healthy, nice balance. So there's a connection between self-nurturing and self-respect. If I allow myself to be bullied and cowed by other people's urges for me, Kim, to be more normal or more nice, I sell myself out. They may like me better, feel more comfortable with my more conventional experience or behavior, but I will hate myself. Hating myself, I will lash out at myself and others. If I sabotage my artist, I can well expect an eating binge, a sex binge, a temper binge. Check the relationship between those behaviors for yourself. When we are not creating, artists are not always very normal or very nice to ourselves or to others. Creativity is oxygen for our souls. Cutting off our creativity makes us savage. We react like we are being choked. There's a real rage that surfaces when we are interfering with on a level that involves picking lint off and fixing us up. When well-meaning parents and friends push marriage or 9 to 5 or anything, oh God. When well-meaning parents and friends push marriage or 9 to 5 or anything on us that doesn't evolve in a way that allows for our art to continue, we will react as if we are fighting for our lives, because we are. Zandra over here says the high-functioning artist. So I got married when I was like 20 years old because that was the prescribed thing for me to do. My biological nuclear family was very, very, and so I was supposed to get married, have babies, whatever. Never really wanted that, so I ended up marrying this person, total tool, very abusive situation, and I was going to go to art school, and we got married, and then it was, no, you can't. A lot of abuse happened. I won't go there, but it was like, dude, I'm trying to do what's right and what's prescribed, and now I'm not like the more and more you try and conform, the less and less you're allowed to be yourself, and that is always how it's going to be. The more and more you bend over backwards to fit into somebody else's vision of you, the more and more they're going to try to take, because no matter how much you bend into their mold, you're still going to be you, and it's still not going to be good enough. And anytime somebody steps in and says, you are not acceptable, this is what you need to be, 100% of the time, you are not going to be happy, and 100% of the time, whatever you give them will not be enough. And that has been my experience with people. So please keep that in mind, you guys. You don't want to give up what makes you you. End quote. All right. Thank you, Zandra. Zandra says, oh, wow, that's damn quotable. Well, and it's the truth. And I've come a long way from there. So, yeah, I'm no longer married. It's going to take a very special person. Know what I'm saying? All right. Very good. Be who you are. Don't let someone take that from you. The function of the creative artist consists of making laws, not in following laws already made. Kim says, I totally lost myself in a bad marriage where I stayed so the kids would have 2 parents. I should have left years earlier. But the thing is, you were doing what you thought was right for the kids, and whether it was or wasn't, you were trying to do what was best, and you need to honor yourself for doing what you thought was right. And in the end, you're here now, And I applaud you for that, Kim, because there's so much societal pressure to do certain things that there's no way for somebody to withstand all of that and make different decisions, right? Like, you didn't make the decision lightly. I 100% see that even just through this message. So, you know, I hope that you can find some peace in where you are now, because that's certainly not fun to say shoulda, woulda, coulda. But personal interjection there. So yeah, not fun. You know, these. So now we have. Oh, good. Kim says she's a happy artist now. And obviously you have your own studio and you're doing so well. So you should be proud of yourself. I'm really glad for that. So yeah, we've all had these experiences where there's this normal that other people want for us. And so I think it's important that even though we're probably not in those same, you know, depending on who you are and where you are, no matter where you are in relation to the timeline and those drastic situations, whether you're experiencing it now or it was 10 years ago or it was 5 years ago or 2 years ago, it's important to remind ourselves that even with it in the past, that we still have that habit of trying to fit in. And so I think putting our inner child first, our artist child first, and realizing that we are not the same as society as a whole. We have different needs. Everybody has personal needs. And, you know, we're luckily in a time to where, you know, there are ways for us to meet people that are like-minded and that can be supportive. And I think people that aren't like-minded can be supportive, but it's definitely nice to not feel like you're the only one this way. So finding your tribe. So coming back, you got to keep that creativity, that center. That's got to be our center. So to be an artist is to recognize the particular, to appreciate the peculiar, to allow a sense of play in our relationship, to accepted standards, to ask the question why. To be an artist is to risk admitting that much of what is money, property, and prestige strikes you as a little silly. So this was all about acceptance, this entire section. I think we've covered a lot. We've covered a lot of really heavy content just in this little first blurb here. You know, if you're happier writing than not writing, if you're happier painting than not painting, if you're happier singing than not singing, if you're happier hitting those Christina Aguilera high notes, those notes, Zandra, you know, if that's what makes you happy, then for God's sake and for the universe's sake, and I mean that literally, let yourself do it. Carve out that time. Take that artist state. Take that time to renew your creative well and reconnect with yourself and make it a priority. And, you know, this is a good book. This is good content. I feel like I'm on a soapbox here. You guys are just like here listening, and here I go. Off on the soapbox. Success is our next topic. Creativity is a spiritual practice. It's not something that can be perfected, finished, and set aside. It's in my experience that we can reach plateaus of creative attainment only to have certain restlessness in it. Yes, we're successful. Yes, we've made it, but in other words, just when we get there disappears. Dissatisfied with our accomplishments, however lofty, we are once again confronted with our creative self and its hungers. The questions we have just laid to rest now rear their heads again. What are we going to do now? And I so relate to this so much. It's just like I was telling you guys in January, I worked the entire January on this art install And then I had a bunch of like assistants and stuff. And then it was like the one night, and then the week after I had this freaking hangover, and it was like depression, whatever, because I wasn't riding that high. And then I was like, and then I just told myself, I was like, that's okay. I can take this time to chill, relax, like, just enjoy it. And I did. And then I was like, immediately it was like, okay, what's next? What am I going to make next? And it's always like that for me. And give me a hey, and a word in the chat box if you guys are like that too. I feel like Zondra's going to be like, word, what's next? Ken's going to be like, what's next? You guys are all creative types. I feel like you guys can really relate to that. Zondra says, word, heck yeah. So yeah, so it's always what's next? Okay, I did that. Now what can I do? Now what can I do? And it's a lot for people. People are always telling me, Sari, you have so much energy. Sari, you're always doing stuff. And it's like, bitch, I got ideas. I got stuff I want to make. I got shit to do. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to sit there and, Kim says, can't wait to see what's next. So I don't know. It's funny. People are like, oh, you're always doing something. You're never, I was like, and people sit here, okay, these people come into my work and they're like, oh, I'm so bored. I can't wait till things open. Da, 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 da. And I'm sitting there like, I don't even remember what boredom feels like. Like, there's always something to do. There's always something I want to do. You guys need to like find an outlet. I don't get it. I don't personally remember what it feels like to be bored. Even when I'm on an airplane, like, I bring so much crap, like, I can't even do it all. Like, my ass is just sore on an airplane. I'm not bored. Anyway, here we go. Tangents. All right. It is the willingness to once more be a beginner that distinguishes a creative career. Oh, ouch. I needed to hear that. A friend of mine, a master in his field, finds himself uncomfortably committed years in advance of his availability. That sucks. When you book your schedule out like that, it sucks because then it feels like strangling. He's in an enviable position on a business level, but he finds it increasingly perilous to his artistic health. When the wheel turns and the project committed to 3 years ago must be executed, can he do it with imagination and his initial enthusiasm? And the answer is often an uncomfortable no. And so, at great financial cost, he began cutting back his future commitments, investing in the riskier but more rewarding gain of artistic integrity. Not all of us always can muster such creative courage in the face of fiscal temptation, but we can try. So yeah, my mom's always like, just pick one. And I'm like, there's so much that I want to do. Like, I want to do it all. Like, I don't want to do just one. So like, I teach painting workshops. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is it for me. Like, yeah, it's a great way to make money. But I'm not just going to pick one thing to do. Like, this isn't, like, I do graphic design, I do photography, I do crafting, I make wall sculptures, I make paintings. Like, I am not going to just pick one. I do digital animations. I can't pick just one. If I didn't have a job or a need for the financial stability of a job, I would still be busy all the time. Anyway. Can't just pick one. But to be creative, now this is cool because this person is calling us, what is she calling us? Creatively brave. Where was it? Creative courage. So Kim says multiple streams of income and outlet. Zondra says it's a shorter list of what not to do. Kim says can't wait to see what is next. Yeah, exactly. So there's this book called The Renaissance, or what's this person's name? I think they're they, them, Emily something. And they have this book called The Renaissance Creative. And it's this term that's not really thrown around very often, but they also coined the term multi-potentialite. And it's where you're just like good at everything you touch. It still takes work, and you still have to have that beginner, but like you have so many interests that you can't just keep it at one. And I feel like I definitely fall into that category because like in school I was a straight A student. Like math, science, whatever, everything straight A, straight A, straight A, straight A, straight A. All I had to do was take the time to sit down and do the work. That was the hard part. But Sandra says, oh yeah, I've been furloughed, and she's busier than she was when she worked 40 hours a week. Right, exactly. So there's always something to do. And I think people need to realize that like this whole 40-hour work week thing, like a lot of cultures work 6 hours a day and spend the rest of the time doing like crafts and stuff. Like nomadic cultures especially would do that. Jeremy says, I do all the things. Sandra says 40-hour work week is BS. Exactly. That's why I'm like, okay, I've got my plans to make my millions here, and then get into like real estate and then just do my art. So I've got some ideas here for how I'm gonna get there. So we'll see. I just gotta sit down and do the work. So we're getting there. Once my car's paid off, you guys just wait. It's gonna be dope. Sandra says in France, anything more than 30 hours is double time, which it should be. Word, Sandra says. All right, success. Creativity is not a business, although it may generate much business. An artist cannot replicate a prior success indefinitely. Those who attempt to work too long with formula, even their own formula, eventually leach themselves of their creative truths. Embedded as we often are in the business milieu of our art, it is tempting to guarantee what we cannot deliver. Good work that duplicates the good work that has gone before. Over here on the side, we say, no amount of skillful invention can replace the essential element of imagination. And that's Edward Hopper. And I think this speaks to, shit. I read Sandra's comment and lost my train of thought. Oh, artist states. This speaks to artist states. I'll read that again. No amount of skillful invention can replace the essential element of imagination. And that's getting back to those artist states. What drives your creativity? So Sandra says, real estate's easier than you think. She'd recommend it. Being in the music industry, that's the hardest part. Exactly. So that's kind of my plan, right? So without getting into my details, I don't like to speak details of my plans. Sandra says, on every level, there's always this, will it be good as your last hit? It's been a part of my handicap. Yeah, well, and again, you just got to get back to, why am I creating? Why am I creating? Why did I initially decide to come and do this? Why? What is my why? And for the most part, it's going to be because of the joy of creating itself. And you need to let go of that end result and allow it to be whatever it is. You're going to make some shit stuff. You're going to make some good stuff. But in the end, you're going to learn something even on the shit stuff because you're experimenting for the most part. Because if you're not just duplicating the same thing over and over again, you're going to make some shit stuff because you're experimenting. Important. As a successful artist, the trick is not to mortgage the future too heavily. If the house in the Hamptons costs 2 years of creative misery, cranking out a promised project just for cash, that house is an expensive luxury. Juan Grizz says, you are lost in the instant you know what the result will be. This one's for you, Sandra. You are lost the instant you know what the result will be. That's a very good chapter. You guys have worked hard to get to this point, to gain this knowledge here in this chapter. So this is our reward. This is our reward. These bells going off right now for all of us. Sandra, your messages keep getting blocked. Word, she says. Very good, very good. So this means writing your morning pages, taking your artist state. But I run a studio, you say, or whatever other thing it is you must do. People depend on me, I say. All the more reason to depend on yourself and protect your own creativity. And this, my friends, is why I have said I don't want children. My friends have kids, and I love children. It was funny because my friend goes, I know you hate kids, but, and I go, whoa, 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 whoa. I love kids. I just don't want my own because I know that I will put that child first, and then I'll be miserable. Not because that child isn't worthy, but because I need to be first. And this is my creative truth. This is going to be different for everybody. In the future, like if I'm not reliant on a 40-hour-a-week job, I'm open to shit. But it's funny, my friend just assumes that I hate kids. And see, that's that. If you don't want kids, it means this. It's just like that natural inclination to believe things. And so it's important to also not get upset with people for assuming things, because that's the prescription answer. And it's important. Anyway, I'm just giving you guys all kinds of crazy fucking information today, personal information. But hey, we've been well, you know, whatever. It's my truth. All right. So you have to make that time for your creative child. You have to carve that time out. Zonder says, I know that's the worst. In my most illustrious fantasy, I have a McMansion with 12 kids, mostly foster, and I'm a full-time artist. Beautiful. But see, even then, like, they need love. They need attention. I am not going to neglect a human child, right? I am not going to neglect a pet. I'm just not. Zandra says, then I remember how emotionally challenged I feel, even having neighbors. And I'm like, why do I want 12 kids? You need 12 kids and 12 nannies. All right. Attempting to ensure our finances by playing it safe, we lose our cutting edge. As the promised projects diverge further and further from our inner leanings, a certain deep artistic wariness sets in. We must summon our enthusiasm at gunpoint instead of reveling in each day's creative task. Zandra says her poor Sims, because 12 kids aren't like actual Sims. It's like those Tamagotchis we used to have. It's like, I used to feed it and love it and, you know, whatever. And the Tamagotchi, you know, I used to have this when I was a kid. My friend, my old coworker, actually, they recently re-released the Tamagotchis, and she all had one. It was super funny. And she's like, this thing dies every 48 hours. And she's like, killed yours in 5 minutes. That's pretty sad. You probably shouldn't get kids, Sandra. Your Sims and your Tamagotchis aren't even happy. Sorry. All right, so artists can and do responsibly meet the demands of their business partnerships. What is more difficult and more critical is for us artists to continue to meet the inner demands of our own artistic growth. In short, as success comes to us, we must be vigilant. Any success postulated on permanent artistic plateau dooms us and it to failure. Sandra says, you don't want to see my aloe. So somehow it has survived. Your aloe plant is still alive for a decade. That's pretty good. My plants outside are doing pretty good. Look at these guys. These guys up here, oh my God. So this one right here, the one I'm pointing at, those are salvia plants. And like I got them like a couple weeks ago, and I swear to God, they were like 6 inches shorter. They're just like sprouting up. My ADD is showing. So the next topic is the Zen of sports, which I don't really understand how that relates to art because I'm not really a sporty person. But let's find out what it means. Most blocked creatives are cerebral beings. We think of all the things we want to do but can't. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Give me an ouch if you feel that one. Ouch. Most blocked creatives are cerebral beings. We think of all the things we want to do but can't. Give me an ouch, please. God, tell me I'm not alone. Zonder says the Zen of sports is real. Early in recovery, we next think of all the things we want to do but don't. In order to effect a real recovery, one that lasts, we need to move out of the head and into the body of work. To do this, we must first all move into the body. So that's why I like yoga a lot and like riding my bicycle and going and taking walks, because you really, really get connected with your body. That somatic movement connects your spirit with your body, and it grounds us. Same with like meditation. It really helps you feel your body. Jeremy, Zandra says, very ouch. Jeremy says, our salvia is not doing too good. We need more sun. Sandra says, we're puck. We're rutch. That's word ouch. Wait, that's what ours should look like. Holy dang. Oh my God, my salvia plants. Do you want to see? They're so pretty. So this little salvia, they even have like these little guys shooting off over here. See it? And it smells good. Yeah, your salvia plant should be happy. This is too. Anyway. All right. So anyway, my ADD is showing big time today, you guys. Okay. So in order for effect real recovery, one that lasts, we need to move out of the head and into a body of work. To do this, we must first move into the actual body. And Zandra says from her experience, running is one of the best things you can do for creativity. Excuse me. So I get like, my brain almost gets dulled when I'm not doing physical activity. If I'm like too lethargic sitting there, running is really, really cleansing, I feel, emotionally. Same with like kickboxing. Have you ever tried kickboxing, Zandra? Especially if you have like I've dealt with like a lot of like pent up anger, and kickboxing is just like, oh, it's like my favorite thing. Zandra says it gets the blood flowing, it gives time to think, but it also, with the right music, it gives you repetition. Something magical happens. Zandra says she hasn't tried kickboxing, but she wants to. So I have a bunch of like at-home workout DVDs. So you're kind of inspiring me to like get up and do one. Word, anger, Zandra says. Yeah, and our emotions can be creative fuel. It's like I keep saying, like, paint your feelings is what my mom tells me. Paint your feelings. Because like I'll sit there and I'll like, in the past I would be like, this is what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And she's just like, her answer to me is just, and like she'll address the things that, I need to address. But she's like, paint your feelings, dude. I gotta keep talking about this. Paint your feelings. And Zandra says she used to beat the crap out of random boxes. I would kick boxes. Well, I mean, at least they were boxes and not people or kittens. Inanimate objects are, and get a punching bag. That would be good for you, probably. So after we're able to accept, where we're at and what we need to do, and how we need to carve out time for ourselves, we need to take the action, and we have to take a physical action. So as Westerners, we've like lost our grounding, and with it our capacity to act in the world. Interesting. In the pursuit of a higher consciousness, we render ourselves unconscious in a new way. Exercise combats this spiritually induced dysfunction. So she's saying that by trying to adopt Eastern meditation techniques, that we disconnect from our bodies. So it's kind of like me when I'm like, why would anyone kick kittens? Heretics. I don't know, because they're freaking evil. So she's saying that with our meditation techniques, then we bliss out and render ourselves high but dysfunctional. So we lose our grounding. So yeah, so we need that for our mind, but we also still need to take care of our bodies. And so for me, like a lot of times I'll get going on one thing and then I'll just get rid of everything else. And it's hard for me to balance like a regular schedule. So being able to have that physical and that mental challenge is also important. So here we're going to reconnect with our bodies, the Zen of sports. So returning to the notion of ourselves as spiritual radio sets, we need enough energy to raise a strong signal. And this is where walking comes in. What we are after here is a moving meditation. This means we are, yeah. And so it's like you were talking about in running, Zandra. When I run, I get in this weird, like Zen-like state where like I'm exerting this energy, but like you're focusing on just one foot after the other, one foot after the other. And as you said, like with the right music, you get in a sort of like almost like a dancing. Like this music going right here. Moving meditations, yes, Zandra says. So it's like what dancing is for me. Like when I'm getting like, dancing is one of my biggest ways to connect to my body. Getting that good music, that good vibe going. But it's also really helpful when you're running too. And I think you've kind of just inspired me to go take a run. All right, so the object is to stretch your mind more than your body, so there doesn't need to be an emphasis on fitness, although eventual fitness is a likely result. Yeah, so like when I'm running, like just the act of like focusing on one foot after the next and breathing through it is a meditation in itself. And Zandra says she's been trying to run for the last week. It's awesome. It's really awesome. So the goal is to connect to a world outside of us, to lose the obsessive self-focus of self-exploration and simply explore. One quickly notes that when the mind is focused on other, the self often comes into a far more accurate focus. Over here on the side, we got another little quote. No longer conscious of my movement, I discovered a new unity with nature. I had found a new source of power and beauty, a source I never dreamt existed. Yeah, there's really something to be said for going outdoors and moving, walking. So we've got a little anecdote in here. I'm just going to skip over that because this is a lot of content. Like I normally like read through this before we meet up, but I'm trying to do it on the fly here. So Buddha says to keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep our minds strong and clear. There you had it. Siddhartha, Buddha. So down here we have, we've got some examples. Let's read. Eve Babbitts is a novelist and a swimmer. Tall, blonde, and as generously curved as the freeway clover leaf of her native Los Angeles. The clover leaf, that's like when you're getting off the off-ramp and it has you go like that. Of her native Los Angeles, Babbitt swims in order to direct the traffic flow of her own overcrowded mind. Swimming, she says, is a wonderful sport for a rider. Every day as she swims the aquamarine oblong of her neighborhood pool, her mind dives deep into itself, past the weeds and clutter of its everyday concerns. What editor is late with a check, why the typist persists in making so many errors, and down to a quiet green pool of inspiration. That rhythmic, repetitive action transfers the locus of the brain's energies from the logic to the artist hemisphere. It is there that the inspiration bubbles up, untrampled by the constraints of logic. That was beautiful and eloquent. So the things that begin to fall into place are not merely work associated. When you get out there and you move your body, you can have a sense of not only your own motion, but also the motion of the universe through the universe itself. All right. I'm deep in another anecdote. So somebody's talking about riding their bicycle, and she says, silence, a blue sky, a black ribbon of highway, the universe and the wind. When I ride, especially at dusk and at early morning, I feel the universe. I am able to meditate more in motion than sitting still. Being alone, having the freedom to go wherever I want, having the wind blow, riding alone in that wind allows me to center myself. I feel the universe so closely that my spirit sings. Exercise teaches the rewards of process. It teaches the sense of satisfaction over small tasks well done. Running, you can extend yourself and learn to tap into an unexpected inner source. You can call that source God or the universe, and whatever answers it to exercise seems to call forth in other circumstances when we mistrust our personal strength. Rather than scotch a creative project when it frustrates us, we learn to move through the difficulty. Life is a series of hurdles, says Libby, a painter whose sport is horseback riding. I used to see it as a series of obstacles or roadblocks. Now they are hurdles and challenges. How well am I taking them? On the daily schooling of her horse, teaching her to think before she jumps, to pace herself properly, Libby has learned the same skills for her own life. So part of this learned creative patience has to do with connecting to a sense of universal creativity. Riding, my rational mind switches off, she says. I'm reduced to feeling, to being a participant. When you ride through a field of grass and little flecks of fluff from the wheat ears float around you, the feeling makes your heart sing. When a rooster tail of snow sparkles in the sun in your wake, that makes your heart sing. These moments of intense feelings have taught me to be aware of other moments in my life as they occur. When I feel that singing feeling with a man, and know that I have also felt it in a field of grass and a field of snow, then I know it is really my own capacity to feel that I am celebrating. So not only is it the sense of communion with nature that creates a singing in the heart, an endorphin-induced natural high is one of the byproducts of exercise itself. A runner may feel that same celebratory sense of well-being pounding in a dirty city streets trail that Libby finds when she posts rhythmically along a country trail. So this is talking about, I know it was good, right? So this is talking about how exercise releases endorphins, which makes us happy, right? So connecting with your body is, it makes you happy. So if you've ever been like, oh man, I really want to do this, but I'm so depressed, I'm sitting here, like taking care of your body and your mind at the same time will allow you to like be able to access the things that otherwise you would have to sit there and pry at. And that's the hard way. So she's teaching us that really connecting with our bodies takes out a huge problem, a huge thing that we would otherwise view as a roadblock. Then it just turns into, okay, this is part of the process. Sandra says there's this book, What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. And she's heard a lot of people talk about it and that she wants to read it. And she thinks that this is kind of like a small sample of maybe what that book contains. Right. This is a very good chapter, and it's very enlightening. And you guys, I am skipping over some things, so please go back and like read these chapters. But all right, let's go on here. As we said before, we learn by going where we have to go. Exercise is often the going that moves us from stagnation to inspiration, from problem to solution, from self-pity to self-respect. We do learn by going. We learn that we are stronger than we thought. We learn to look at things with a new perspective. We learn to solve our problems by tapping into our own inner resources and listening for inspiration, not only from others, but from ourselves. Seemingly without effort, our answers come while we swim or stride or ride or run. By definition, this is one of the fruits of exercise. Exercise, this is from Webster's 9th dictionary. Exercise, the act of bringing into play or realizing in action. exercise, the act of bringing into play or realizing in action. This, my friends, is the zen of sports. Ooh, does anybody like get this like deep down kind of like understanding, like goosebumpy feeling? Because like I've kind of got like this almost like a veil of understanding has kind of swept over, right? Okay. So it's not just me. Like this is some really powerful stuff. Sandra's agreeing with me. We're Julia Cameron. Also, Kim sent me a link to that Russell Brand interview that he did with Julia Cameron. And I'm not sure if I addressed it before, but I went and watched the interview that he did with her, and it was really good. So if you guys get an opportunity, just go to Russell Brand's YouTube channel and find his interview of Julia Cameron. It's really good stuff. All right, I'm gonna go get my other cup of coffee. I made two because my first one was with old coffee grounds and it didn't taste very good, but I'm gonna drink it anyway. Because I'm thirsty. All right. So the next thing that we have is building our artist's altar. And from what I've experienced with this book, so Zandra, you said you already have a bunch of stuff that you really connected with. So I'm going to assume that we're going to use what we did for the last week's, things that really inspire us and that we like. I think part of our challenge is going to be to utilize some of that stuff. So. I don't know who that is. Zandra says she learned that Julia Cameron was married to Martin Scorsese, which was interesting. I have no idea who that is. Now I have 2 cups. All right. Let's take a minute here. Oh, he's a famous film director? Was past tense, okay. It's always sad, but hopefully they're happier now separate. All right, building your artist's altar. Morning pages are a meditation, a practice that brings you to your creativity and your creator universe, your internal, whatever you view this entity as. In order to stay easily and happily creative, we need to stay spiritually centered. This is easier to do if we allow ourselves centering rituals. It is important that we devise these ourselves from the elements that feel holy and happy to us. Okay, we got a little Kim comment here. Kim, she says, artist altar. She has one at home. She has one at a home studio and at her store studio. All little memories and gifts from friends and family. I think I already have stuff for our artist altar. And I'll kind of show you guys. This is going to be fun. So I have like a bunch of, crystals and like pine cones and like little Buddhas, like a big obsidian. Ooh, this is really good. Okay. So I'll show you guys this. So my mom got me this. It says, make the moment count. I have a picture of baby Sari. This was me when I was 5 years old. Kim says my workspace behind me looks like one. Yes, I think I have artist altars all over my house. So I have like my little mushrooms and my salt lamp. And this is a piece of driftwood that I started painting that I need to finish. And I have a hanger on it so I can mount on the wall. I think my whole house is kind of like an artist altar. But But I really like this. So, oh, I forgot his name. I met this very prolific artist, and he made the first animation that was banned from MTV for being too graphic. And he gave me this pen. He has since passed. His name was Bruce, and he was a very, very neat guy. And he complimented my work, and his son was, or his grandson was with him, and he says, this guy never compliments anybody's artwork. And he goes, my grandpa's kind of a snob. I'm really surprised he wanted to compliment you. And so that was like really important. So he gave me this button, and he's since passed, but he did a lot of claymation work and miniature stuff, and it was really, really cool. And then I found this. This is a tarot card that somebody used for their business card. But the tarot card, it says, listen to your intuitive signals. They are real and will guide you in the right direction. So Kim says, your workspace behind you looks like an artist altar. It certainly is. Zandra says she was going to say I kind of have an artist lair. It's like her artist bat cave. Yeah, so my whole house is just like my art studio, basically, because like I used to have my art studio and I consolidated it, but so that I wasn't renting a room and an art studio. I was like, well, it's nice just to like wake up and do art at home. So it's like a double-edged sword. There's like good things and bad things about having your art studio at home. I think in the future, having a room that's actually my studio would be more optimal than just, this is my living room, this is where I paint. So, but I love it. So anyway, putting all my goodies back. So, making our artist lair. Or building your artist altar. Many blocked creatives grew up in punitively religious homes. Ouch! Stop! Stop calling me out. For us to stay happily and easily creative, we need to heal from this, becoming spiritually centered through creative rituals of our own. A spiritual room or even a spiritual corner is an excellent way to do this. This haven can be a corner, blah, 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 blah. It's a reminder and an acknowledgement of the fact that our creator unfolds our creativity. So fill it with things that make you happy. Remember that your artist is fed by images. We need to unlearn our old notion that spirituality and sensuality don't mix. An artist's altar should be a sensory experience. So yeah, that's my whole house. Uh-oh, I'm losing my battery. Uh-oh, shit. Hold on, guys. Okay, we're saved. We have power. Please excuse. This is kind of a wonky live chat here today. Okay, so what is charging? Good. So we're meant to celebrate the good things of this earth. Pretty leaves, rocks, candles, sea treasures, all those remind us of our creator. Right. So I even have, like, every once in a while I'll buy myself like a bouquet of flowers. And like, I know I have my plants outside on the patio and like this little guy right there. But I just buy myself some flowers, and you know, it spruces it up and it makes it feel like so cheery. Really connects you. So small rituals, self-devised, are good for the soul. Burning incense while reading affirmations or writing them, lighting a candle, dancing to drum music, holding a smooth rock and listening to a Gregorian chant, all of these tactile physical techniques reinforce spiritual growth. And you know what? I already kind of incorporate a lot of this. Like, I'll turn on some good music and I'll dance, and then I'll, like, when I paint, I'll paint to the beat. I'll always burn. I can't remember what this is called. What is that wood stick that you burn that's like an incense? I have incense and candles. I have like some sage smudge. You know, I'll even like sit down and write out my intention. And also before I go and I teach workshops, I always meditate and I always set my intention for my workshop. And, you know, I always say, you know, let me be the most help possible to this group of people. Let me really, you know, so there's, it's just like if you're, what they say, like a baseball pitcher has like, you know, his routine before he pitches, you know, it's like everybody's like little thing before they have a game. It just gets you in that right headspace. So I think that's really cool. She's touching on this. Oops. Remember, the artist's child speaks the language of the soul. Music, dance, scent, shells. Your artist's altar to the creator should be fun to look at, even silly. Remember how much little kids like gaudy stuff? Your artist is a little kid, so. And it's just like that thing that we did with our little vision board where we put everything that we wanted on it. You know, I need to update mine because I've recently found that they're turning my dream car into an electric car in a couple of years. So I need to add that to my thing. Palo Santo, Kim says. That's the stick. That's exactly what it is. Palo Santo. So like when I get home, I need to start doing this like every day where when I get home from work, I already do like light my Palo Santo and my candles, but I really just want to like sit down and meditate or do some yoga or go for a bike ride and reset. Because yesterday I wasn't feeling very good. Like I went and like I spent all morning like chasing around like my car situation, and my mechanic is like an hour-ish away, and I had to like take my rental car to the airport, yada, 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 like get an Uber, like all kinds of stuff yesterday. So my morning yesterday was an adventure. And by the time I got home, I was just like, I'm tired. And I had to go to the grocery store. And so I went and I just took a bike ride. And that really like, just like she's saying in here, it helped me like reconnect to my body. And I was like, oh, okay, I feel a lot better. And a lot of that stuff is like, we know mentally that it makes us feel better, but I don't feel like it gets in the way. So it's really just being like, okay, I know you don't feel like it, but we gotta do this. All right. So over here, we have a quote from Norma Jean Harris. It says, art does not reproduce the visible, rather it makes it visible. The moon develops creativity as chemicals develop photographic images. All right, y'all, we got some tasks here. You know, I have a feeling like just like this chapter, these tasks are going to be really good. So let's go ahead and put our hands in, and we're going to say, I commit to doing these tasks this week, and I commit to doing something physical. All right. High fives, y'all. Any questions, comments? Anybody have any special place that I know you guys, Kim and Zandra, you guys have some artist altars already. So maybe what we'll challenge you to do this week, and maybe this is what I'm going to do too, is to really just cleanse that space of clutter. So if you already have an altar, let's really hone in on our altar and our living space. And let's say, is there something here that is detracting from what I love? And then let's like really work on removing that. So that's what I'm going to do for myself this week. Kim says, I carry clear quartz, amethyst, sodalite, a green aventurine, citrine, carnelian, and red jasper with me every day. Ooh, do you have like a little totem pouch? So what I do is I have lapis lazuli that my cousin gave me. It's a beautiful teardrop pendant. And I have a stone from Stonehenge, and I have a raw black tourmaline. Oh, you carry it in a totem pouch. That's awesome. I think I've been kind of wanting a totem pouch, but I have to go get some supplies. So I think that would be really cool to go and get. I actually have some of those. I have clear quartz, lots of it. I have amethyst. I might have sodalite. I have citrine, and I definitely have carnelian. But some of my rocks, I forgot their names. So yeah, make my own. That's a good idea. That might be a good little, like, artist date is to make your own little totem pouch. So that would be really cool. I like that idea. Does anybody else have anything that they carry with them? Good juju, good vibes, good intention. Oh, you guys might like my shirt. It says, charge your crystals and rock on. Speaking of rocks. They are all chakras. Oh, I like that. I have a chakra bracelet, and it has lava stone on it, and you can put your essential oil, and that's really cool. Actually, I haven't seen that in a while. My mom got it for me. I need to find that. Sandra likes the shirt and the homework idea. Beautiful. Cool, cool, cool. Then we're all in sync. Sandra's been wanting to get more rocks. Well, maybe that's a perfect artist date for you. Some of the shops are opening up now. You can probably go down and just like vibe with some of the rocks and see which one wants to go home with you. That might be a good thing to do. Yeah. Yay. All right. Oh, so this painting behind me, I'll tell you guys a little bit about this. So this, I was talking with my friend about it last night, and I was trying to figure out a name for it. And we decided to call it reparation. Yeah, and so the dictionary term for reparation means the making of amends for wrong or injury done, restoration to good condition, compensation, and usually reparations, compensation of money, material, labor payable by a defeated country or another country, or to an individual for loss suffered during the result of war. So this, I'm going to find a charity to donate the proceeds to, and I'm going to make prints of it and donate a portion of the proceeds of the prints to charity for the BLM movement. I want to find a local Seattle organization. Another thought that I had was to do, get in contact with some families of some people that have been murdered by police and do portraits of them and have the proceeds go for like a memorial fund. I'm not sure. I haven't really felt that one out yet. I want to be able to do it in a respectful way. And same with this. I want to be able to do this in a respectful way. But this is a white and a black hand, and they're going to have these ferns with their roots exposed. And the roots are really significant of, like, you know, we have this plant here, which represents our relationship. And the roots are really just reaching for something, some solid ground to really reestablish themselves and together. And so anyway, that's kind of a thought. So once I finish this, I gotta work on just getting that one done. But I have a commission that I need to do. Kim says, rock on, have a wonderful creative week. Sad, next week will be the last week of this series. I know. But like we discussed, we'll go move forward with another book. So next week we'll pick the book. It sounds like Zandra and Kim have some books already. So next week we'll pick the book, we'll solidify that, and then that'll give everybody a chance to go and get the book. Kim says she loves the name. Perfect. So I'm really happy for that. Thank you guys for your support too, and for showing up consistently and for bearing with me. So yeah, this was a really good talk. But yeah, hope you guys have a lovely week. Don't forget to get in touch with your bodies. Let's do our homework. And here's the thing. Next week will be the last week, but we still have to come back and do our follow-up after the week, right? So next week might be the last prescribed week, but then we need to do our follow-up afterward. So, and then we have Q&A in the back. We have some Q&A in the back of the book, so we still have some content. And Zandra says, after this book, the next books will be quick. Exactly. So the next books will be a little less intensive. It's going to be less of a consistent thing. So let's kind of think about the format that we want to do going forward. What I really think is it would be helpful to have, I want to kind of do a show and tell kind of thing. And Zandra says we should do a pizza party after week 12. Oh my God, I love that idea. Let's do a virtual pizza party. And Kim says she'll bring the beer. Hell yeah. Yeah, let's do a party. So next week we'll go through what the following week will be, and then the next week after week 12, it'll be week 13 for our check-in. We'll do our pizza party with our booze. Actually, that reminds me of stuff from mimosas. And we'll do our checkup, and then we'll talk about our new week 13 is a pizza party. I love it. It's so beautiful. And then we'll discuss, we'll pick out the book for sure, and then we'll meet back. And what I'd like to do moving forward is a kind of show and tell. I would really, really like if you guys would think about a piece that you would like to share. And it's got to be something that you'll have to send it to me ahead of time. And again, no pressure. If you don't feel like you'd want to, that's okay. But I'd really like to kind of give everybody kind of an opportunity to kind of share what it is that they do, if they're so inclined. And if you just shoot me an email or a DM, and we'll get a way to be able to share that, whether it be something that I print out or I have another screen back here to share. And then that way everybody, because like unless we move this to like a Zoom meeting, there's no way for you guys to show up. And I'd like to keep this in an accessible platform. And there's been some discussion about how Zoom meetings kind of expose people to be hacked. And I haven't looked into that enough. So I'd like to keep it on this same platform on YouTube. But think about some way that you can send me a piece that I can share, and we can talk about your artwork. So yeah, and I think that moving forward, it'll be kind of like a book club about art, but also kind of like a show and tell where everybody can kind of be involved and we can be each other's accountability buddies. And that'll keep us a way to check in with each other. And I think we've got a really good group going, and I'd love to continue. So anyway, I think that this is good. All right. If anybody has anything, it doesn't seem like anybody has anything else. So Kim calls it a sacred circle. Oh, I love it. Beautiful. Sacred circle. Can we do a sacred artist circle? Sacred artist circle? Does that sound good? And then we can have like our little club. We can even make like a Facebook group if you guys want. Yeah, let's make a Facebook group, and then we'll do our weekly meetups. And then if anybody really wants to be involved, Julia mentions it in next week, a sacred circle. Well, perfect. So we're really right on track here. Awesome, you guys. I'm really happy about that. I already have a Facebook group, and I call it the Artsy Fartsy group. But I think sacred circle sounds better. So, and I have it existing, but like I don't really do anything with it. So I think that this would be a good way to actually revamp it and move forward with it, because that's something that I think would be fun. All right. Well, again, I'm so proud of you guys. Thank you guys for sticking with me, showing up week after week after week. And I will see you next week. Have a lovely day. Oh, and just a reminder, if there's anything you've been especially resisting, stop and do it now. When I end this video, let's go and do that thing that you've been resisting. What is it that's been the biggest hurdle for you? All right. Much love. I love you. Please share this with anybody that you think would be that would enjoy it or that would like to be involved, especially moving forward as we finish this book. So, all right, guys, take it easy.